Peace, 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 bliss, and embrace, everyone. We outside with it today, okay? We are outside with it as we practice a bit of self-care on this Sunday. So I am in my face mask. We're going to do a nice foot soak once I go back inside. In addition to, I may sit in my at-home sauna. But allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer, and I am the voice and curator behind Embracing Her Now. And the intent of this particular channel, this page, is to encourage women to accept the shifting identities that they are enduring, to know how to navigate the changes, the myriad of changes that are taking places in their life, and then also to walk into their calling, right? Like many of us are in these transitory periods at different times in our lives. And so I am here to just share with you some of my own personal stories, how I got over, how I overcame, and how I am walking into my best life at this time. Not only walking into it, but living my best life. And my assignment in terms of how I was called to serve is to show you in real time, right? Like I think a lot of the times many of us are too embarrassed or we are concerned about perceptions, and so that is why we wait until we feel as if we've made it over our mountaintop to then come and share. And so I was told by the Most High God, no, that's not how I want you to do it. And so I was very resistant and reluctant to do that because of the title of this message. It's time to release the shame, sis. Like it is time to release the shame, and you need to do it now. Another reason why, let me tell you, I'm outside is because I thought that I was going to beat my son and record the messages before he made it downstairs to the video game. And while I was applying my face mask and making my smoothie, I got a nice little fresh smoothie here. We got some fresh seeded watermelon in here with some black cherries and a little splash of pomegranate juice, right? So we got some antioxidants, some water content, and we are going to sip on that throughout this live. But I always say I'm not going to be here long, but I feel the face mask getting tighter and tighter, and so that's why I wanted to come live now, because I knew that if I felt the mask getting tighter, that it would be kind of a timeline for me, a clock of sorts. So what you see behind me is basically my sons. This is their painting area. As you are aware, or you may not be aware, our parent company, Aries Rising, has released a art collection by Drip and Drop being my twins, Kingston and Kirsten. And so they dropped their first collection in June. They are currently working on their second collection to be launched in the upcoming weeks, and we are really excited about that. So I pulled my vehicle from out of the garage, and I made half of the garage their space to be able to do their art. So that's what you see behind me. So let's get into the message, right? So it's time to release the shame. Do it now, sis. I shared with you in the introduction that there were pieces of me that were chained to the shame, right? Or chained to what I thought were perceptions and how people would perceive the transitions that I was going through in my life. And instead of me accepting and acknowledging that it wasn't necessarily people's opinions that I was concerned about, it was more so my opinion of myself and my own personal shame, the baggage of shame that I was carrying because of the decisions that I made or because of things that happened to me that were beyond my control. And so with that, because I like to be a person, I told you all before, I'm a planner. I like to, forecast. I like to really envision things as they are. Hey, Brittany, how you doing? How was church today? Did you go to church with your mommy today? It's good to see you. I told everybody I'm on here while I'm practicing my Sunday self-care, and so you're going to see me in the raw today. So that's how we looking today. We looking like we at home taking care of ourselves. So I was concerned, right? And so I was making these transitions. I was making these investments in myself, but there were still some things that I was reluctant to talk about and to share and to just kind of overcome and say, you know what, Jennifer, use this time, use this experience, use these these moments as a catalyst to take you and to propel you where God is taking you. So today I was in church online. And the pastor's message was so poignant. It was so right on time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, God, you're hearing my prayers. You're hearing my thoughts. You know what some of the things are that's still keeping me from fully embracing this vision, from fully walking into it and owning it, right? Like, walk into it and own it and do it fearlessly, do it with confidence, so I can know that every time I show up in this space, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, wherever I show up, or while I'm out in the community, knocking on doors, right? Because that's really what you're doing when you have a small business. You are knocking on doors. Like, nobody starts at the top, not even the people that have the abundant network and connections, and they have a seat at the table, they're in the room. They still have, in some aspects, they got to work the circuit, right? And so when you're working that circuit, you have to show up in front of people with this absolute surety and confidence that what is coming out of your mouth is so, right? Like, if you're promising that you can deliver on something, then you know that, hey, I have done my research. I have put my plan together. Like, I've done everything that I need to do to be able to present, my particular. What's up? How you doing? I'm on live. I'm on live. What?
You wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready.
It's okay. How you doing? I miss you. You about to be on the live. I'm out here on live. I'll see you when you get back.
I'm trying to make that happen. If it was a little past 7 days.
That's okay. Tell me when you get back. I've been looking for you.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. All right, cool. See, you all listen. Community, right? So let me tell you this, community. So that's my neighbor. And when the boys were in the process of launching their art collection, this man was literally buying paintings as they were painting them, right? They were painting and he was buying them before they even finished the paintings. Not only did he do that, he also would take those paintings, anyone that came over here, he would bring them over into the garage to show them what the boys were doing. And so make sure that when you are making this transformation, you're going through this transformation, this metamorphosis, and you're feeding yourself all of this new fruit, right? You're eating from the fruit of the vine. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that genuinely support what it is that you're trying to achieve, your mission, right? And be clear about what your mission is when you're talking to people. So I explained to people that the reason why I invited my children to become a part of my business and to launch their collection was not only to allow them to grow in their particular, all the things that the hobbies or the things that they were good at or they were exploring, right? This may last forever. This may be for a season. This may be for just this summer, and then they're done with it. But I wanted to provide them with a space where they're now starting to understand what it is to be a business owner, to how to set it up, right? How to promote and market it, how to brand yourself, how to position yourselves in the markets, how to go out and say, oh, I don't have much, mommy, but with what I have, we're going to continue to reinvest into the company. So every single time my children, they sell a painting, we reinvest, right? Whether it's we're going to get canvases, whether it's we're getting paint, whether it's we're getting more tarps so that we can protect the garage, whatever it is, right? I'm trying to give my sons the foundation now to understand what it not only means to have multiple streams of income, but to do it when you don't have a lot. So my son started their art company with just the material that we already had here at home. So I had canvases because I told you all before that art was a form of therapy for me, which is how I got into the resin. And so we took what we had and then they took that and then that's how they were able to launch their company. I didn't buy anything. Like the spray paint, everything that they use for their art, we already had it here. And then once they went out and they released their first collection, then we reinvested it back. But I also wanted to show them because they're in middle school now. They're going to be in the 7th grade. They're 12 years old. Now is the time where we're thinking about what is happening for your future. And so art may just be a part of their foundation. And so I try to encourage them to do those things. And so don't limit your children. Don't put your foot on their neck, right? If they want to try something and they want to do it, just let them do it. And if they want to join you and be a part of what you have going on, then you know what? Pull them into it. Pull them into it. Allow them to be a part of your transition as well, because the stronger you become as a parent, as a auntie, as a godmother, a cousin, a woman, the stronger you become, the stronger they become, because now that allows us to pour into them in the way that God intended for us to raise them in this collective village. So I know that was a sidebar, but you know what? That's what happens when you're outside in the garage and you're talking. So I had a lot of shame that I was carrying, and I didn't know how to navigate that shame. I didn't know how to come on here and tell people like this is what God has told me to do, because a lot of people don't believe in hearing the voice of God, right? So when I'm in church this morning, I'm sitting there and the pastor comes out, and immediately the message just strikes me into my soul, into my heart. And what he said is that when you're walking in shame, it leaves an opening in your soul, and then your soul is leaking your confidence. So no matter how I was showing up and people thought, oh, she's so confident, she's so, she's a go-getter, like she's passionate, right? I was leaking. There was a leak. And it's the same way with your car. You all know I love giving analogies, and I think I gave a car analogy yesterday. We're going to give another one today. If you're out driving and you have a leak in your radiator hose, if you have a leak in your oil line, if you have a leak in your brake line, if you have a leak anywhere on your vehicle, and you're driving around, if you do not plug that leak, if you don't go and get it fixed, same thing with your tire. If you have a slow leak on your tire, and those are the worst, they will have you out on the side of the road unexpectedly. And that is because you failed to do the proper maintenance on your car. That is why a car is supposed to have a maintenance schedule. But we also, as women, should have a maintenance schedule, right? Check in with yourself. Give yourself a tune-up. Give yourself a full checkup. Give yourself the opportunity to just sit idle and do nothing. Give yourself an opportunity to just go and park, turn that engine off, and just be still. The same way that we take care of everything, our physical possessions, we have to take care of our body, but also we got to take care of our soul and our spirit. And we got to make sure we're feeding that, because that is what our mind feeds off of. That's what our heart feeds off of. And if we're not taking care of those things, then we cannot walk out here and walk in the purpose that God gave us. So Brittany's here with me today, right? And so I know that Brittany went through some transitions, right? She launched her own real estate company. She was taking her test, right? She got this vision. She was out here being in the mental health care space, helping women elevate their minds and come out of that darkness, that shame that I'm talking about. She has helped women transition through those time periods in their lives. So you may need a Brittany in your life that becomes a part of your accountability team that says, I'm not going to stay stuck in the quicksand of shame. I'm going to pull myself out of this, and I'm going to lean into whoever I have to, but I'm going to seek their permission first. I'm going to tell them what's going on with me, and I'm going to ask them, can you help me? Because sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. So yes, we can call on the Most High God and ask for him to help. But when he sends you your helpmate, you have to be willing and open to accept that help. And these are steps that will allow us to overcome the shame. But also just keep telling yourself, I'm doing good. Every day, speak over your life. Speak the power over your life, that the things that are holding you back, that you are releasing them. Like seriously, y'all, because I took so much time trying to make things perfect, trying to make things right, to put them back into right standing before I really came and said, Jennifer, just do you. Just be you. Show up and show out the way you know you can, the way you know you do. Show people around in this space, what people see from you every day. And so it took me some time to get there. But the thing is this, don't look at that time as time wasted. Don't look at it as a delay, right? Look at it as in you are being called into the season at the time that you're supposed to. A seed will not bear fruit until it has gone through the process of being sown in the soil. And before it is even sown, you gotta cultivate, you gotta harvest the seed from an heirloom. You just can't fashion a seed like, okay, God, I'm going to make a seed. No, a seed already had a host. And then that host bared the fruit. The fruit then became a seed. It produced a seed. And then that seed, you were able to then take that seed. And now you can take that seed, an extension of the parent, which the parent, i.e. being God, right? So now you're able to take that seed. And now God says, go cast your seed. But when you cast that seed, nobody said that you weren't going to cast that seed in opposition. So now you cast your seed in opposition, and you got to make an effort. You got to be intentional to make sure that you are taking care of your seed. And then when the seed finally breaks the surface, now what's going to happen? Now, when it gets on the surface, now you got to care for it. You got to keep all the pests away. You got to pull the weeds. You got to prune it. Like if it's something that needs pruning back, right? You got to prune it. You got to train it where you want to go. If you've ever planted strawberries or cucumbers, anything on a vine, peppermint, them vines take off, it is over for your yard, okay? So you train those vines where you want them to go. Most people train them up. That's why they put them on a trellis. And we want the vine to go up, right? But the vine is resistant. The vine is like, listen, I want to take over this land. I want to take over everything out here. And that's what your vine will do if you allow it. But you can also direct the path of where you want your vine to go. But who helps you direct that vine? The Most High God. Who helps you release your shame? The Most High God. And let me tell you something, y'all. I told y'all last night, me coming over here proclaiming my love for Christ, like I have explored, okay? And that's why I was like, yeah, God, I'm not the one for this. I'm not the one to lead this rebellion. I'm not the one to lead this army here. What you want me to do with these women? I'm not the one. And God said, you have to be the one. You have to be the one. I've called you to do it, so you can't deny me that. So you have to do it. And so I tell people, I grew up in church. Church is what I knew. In the Deep South, okay? Imagine the white churches that you see in the movies and on the artwork and things of that nature. I went to that church out in the middle of nowhere, getting attacked by mosquitoes, okay? Like out there. It's something powerful about being in those spaces. And you can't deny that God exists when you're sitting in those kind of spaces. And so over time, right, I stayed in church all of my childhood. But when I became an adult, I got to make a choice. And the choice that I made was exploration. And so I went and I studied other religions, other practices. And that is why I was like, no, there was a shame there, because I'm like, I can't tell people I did that, because you know how Christians are. You know how the followers of Christ are. They think everything is blasphemous. They're going to strike me down and be like, oh my God, like you're a witch, you're the devil. And the bottom line is this. In that exploration, I was able to understand that God is the Most High God. He is the supreme. Because I also said, I'm not coming on here talking about religion. Why? Because I was trained in an environment in my corporate endeavors that you don't talk about religion. So I had said in my brand, I will not talk about religion because I will lose pieces of an audience. And then I had to accept, like, that's not my audience. Right? Like, if I can't come on here and be authentic, that's not my audience. And if I'm telling women to embrace their now and I can't come and be authentic, then who am I to be a leader with these conversations and dialogues? It's not right. It's not right. So now here we are, and I'm like, listen, we're just going to do it, Jennifer. You know, like, we're just going to do it. So I have no shame to tell people that I have explored, that I appreciate that exploration, that it has grounded me further in my foundation of faith, that I understand that the supernatural is real, and that I also understand that I harness that same power within me because I'm a fruit of that same spirit. And so when you are looking and you're ready to release your shame, whatever it may be, you may be successful with things right now, but there's something that you may be harboring deep in your spirit that you don't even talk about. You probably haven't even shared it with people. The Most High is saying it's time for you to release that because he has something else for you, but you cannot receive it until it is released. So allow yourself to walk into this period of healing and releasing so that you can receive what else is on the other side for you. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you. All you have to do is say, again, if it was something that you did, if it was something that was done against you, something that was beyond your control, right? Like things happen to us in our youth that we don't like to talk about. Things happen to us in our younger, our 20s and our 30s that we don't like to talk about as we were continuing to form as women, right? We were evolving in our womanhood and things happen to us. And so now what I'm saying is those things that happened to you, those things that were a part of or are a part of your story, it is time for you to release them. And when you release them, don't be afraid to talk about them. Because your story is going to help somebody else be delivered. Your story is going to help somebody else overcome. Your story is going to be the catalyst that propels not only you, but your whole army and community. They're going to be propelled into greatness. But God is saying he's waiting for you. He's waiting for you. So, hey, that is all I came on here to say. I told y'all I wasn't going to be long. I told you with the face mask being on my face that it was going to be a clock for me. And so it's like, all right, it's time to take it off, right? So I'm going to go. I'm going to wipe off this face mask. I'm going to give myself this foot bath. I'm going to continue my day of pampering Jennifer. And I will be back on here to see you all soon. But listen, I gave you the message. Release the shame now. Release the shame now so that you can walk into your greatness. Restore your soul. Restore your soul so that it can be balanced and that your spirit can continue to be fed. And tell yourself every day, acknowledge your worthiness. You are worthy of this. You were born for this. You were born into this. So don't allow those things from your past to keep you from elevating in your future. Again, I'm Jennifer of Embracing Her Now. Hey, you need us. We need you too. Send us a message and we're here for you. Love you, sis. Have an amazing day. I'll probably be back here tomorrow, but I won't be in my natural face, right? Like I'll be looking like Jennifer again tomorrow. But again, don't be concerned about what people say you look like. Come on here and have a good time, y'all. Stop overthinking it like I did. Peace.